Hey you guys, and welcome back. So this is going to be a brief video, and it's going to be a little bit different than the other videos here on this channel. This video is going to be directed to those of us who know and understand that we are the descendants of Jacob that the Bible speaks of. And I wanted to do this because I noticed something very interesting, okay? And I wanted to put this out there because all of us who are sitting here watching the news, we see things that are going on. And those of us who are in the know are, of course, looking forward to the second Exodus, looking forward to the return of our Messiah. And here lately, I had been looking at some information concerning the eclipse that's supposed to be occurring next year. And so I had known about this eclipse ever since the one in 2017 happened, but then I was made aware of some additional information as I was looking at the information concerning the one next year. I found out that we're actually going to see another what's called an annular eclipse, and that's also a solar eclipse, but it's known as the ring of fire. So it doesn't completely cover the sun. It covers it except for the outer ring, so that's why they call it the ring of fire. And I have a little bit of information that I looked up on that. And from what I read, it says solar eclipses may be classified as either total, in which the moon completely covers the sun, or annular, in which the moon obscures all but an outer ring of the sun. Whether an eclipse is total or annular depends on the distance between these three objects. And so then thinking about that, I was like, okay, well, wait a minute, because in all the time that I've been on this earth, I don't ever remember ever hearing about a total solar eclipse over the United States prior to the one in 2017. And so then I wanted to find out how rare were total solar eclipses. And I found out that both total solar eclipses and total lunar eclipses are both rare, but total solar eclipses are even more rare than the lunar eclipses. And so I found something that talked about that. It says total solar eclipses are rare events. Although they occur somewhere on Earth every 18 months on average, it is estimated that they recur at any given place only once every 360 to 410 years on average. So I kind of fumbled that a little bit, but it's basically saying that in any one place, they only occur once every 360 to 410 years on average. So we have three within a 7-year time frame, right? Because we had the one on August 21st, 2017. We'll have another one, which is the Ring of Fire, on October 14th of this year. And then about 6 months after then, we'll have one April 8th of 2024. And that one is also going to come the day before the Hebrew New Year. And I know different people look at different calendars, so for some people that may be the actual New Year. But even if the days are a little bit off, the seasons usually tend to be around the same time, because the seasons are the seasons. Like, you're not going to have a calendar that says that the spring is in December, because even though you're saying it's in December, nothing's going to be springing forth, nothing's going to be growing, the birds aren't going to be out chirping and making babies and all that stuff. So even if you're following a different calendar, the seasons are still going to be the seasons. They're still going to be around, general certain time frames. And I apologize if you hear that train in the background, but I'm trying to get through this and I'm not going to redo it. So hopefully you can hear me, and I may make another video later on just to go over some additional things that I found out, but I just wanted to get out like the main parts that I wanted you to focus on in this video. And now when you factor in the one that's happening in October, it does make the symbol of an A over the United States, and some people say that looks like the Hebrew letter Aleph. And so when I was trying to research it, I didn't really see that symbol represented in Hebrew. I saw it represented in the Phoenician alphabet, and I know that they're in some way tied to one another, but I'm not exactly sure, because it had it listed as Phoenician, but it had it corresponding to the Hebrew letter of Aleph. So those of you who actually study Hebrew, study Paleo Hebrew and things like that, maybe you can provide more insight into that, but I'm just not versed enough to get into that. But what I wanted to talk about next was that I just found out that there are going to be a similar couple of eclipses, total solar eclipses, over Egypt shortly after the ones that take place in the United States. Right? Some of you who may have studied up on the eclipses know that they're going to meet in the middle of the X over a place that's referred to as Little Egypt in the United States. It's I think it's Carbondale, Illinois. The nickname of it is Little Egypt. Okay, and so in August. On August 2nd of 2027, you're going to have the first total solar eclipse that's going to go over across Egypt, actual Egypt over in Africa, okay? And then 7 years after that, similar to the way that it's set up here in the United States, to where they're 7 years apart, you will have another total solar eclipse that's going to make an X over Egypt in that same area, and it's going to take place March 20th, 2034. Okay, and what's interesting about this is the two eclipses meet in the middle over the southeastern part of Egypt, right at the Red Sea. Like, it's right over that very tip of Egypt, right where it meets the Red Sea. Okay, and I want you to be thinking about what I read you about how rare a total solar eclipse is, and you have these, set of eclipses happening over these places that have references to Egypt happening in a very short period of time. When you look at the first eclipse that made the first line over the U.S. on August 21st, 2017, it took place 10 years before the one that's going to be taking place in Egypt, before the first eclipse that goes over Egypt over in Africa. Then when you look at this one that's coming up in April, it's going to be 10 years prior to the second eclipse that's going to be going over Egypt and Africa to make the X. Same as over here in the United States. So each eclipse is 10 years apart from the other. But this is what I really found interesting, okay, is that when you look at the one that takes place on April 8th, 2024, which is going to be next year over the United States, it is almost like less than 2 months time away from being 3.5 years, okay? Between the April 8th, 2024 eclipse over the United States and the August 2nd, 2027 eclipse over Egypt is 1,212 days. Okay, and so the 60th day would be September 20th of 2027. So there's about 49 days difference between how many days it is versus 1,260. And so the reason why I bring that up is because, when you think about an eclipse, a solar eclipse, many times it signifies a warning. So you have a warning to come before something takes place. So it's not like you have the warning and then bam, something just hits, Right. And so that's why I wanted to bring that up, because it's so close to being 3.5 years. And our Bible references a couple of times 3.5 years. That it's so close to it that I think that that's something that we should really pay attention to. I think it's something to take note of. I'm not saying anything is going to happen. I'm just saying that's something that, people should be aware of and take note of, because we are supposed to be expectant on our redemption. Okay, we're supposed to be looking up, because we know our redemption is getting high. We're supposed to be expectant on our Messiah to come and redeem us and come get us. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of make that point, because I thought that was very, very interesting. And so, like I said, for those of you who study Hebrew, maybe have found out some other things, please feel free to leave that information, or let me know what you found out or what you've discovered or anything along those. Oh, there's one other thing that I also found out, excuse me, when I was researching this. So I was trying to look up some information about like the frequency of the total solar eclipse versus the annular solar eclipse. And I found out that they kind of like follow one another. I think like the annular one comes sometime before the total solar eclipse. And so when I was looking for that, I found out that there will be another total solar eclipse it will be on March 30th, 2033. So that'll be the year, almost a year to the date before the second eclipse goes over Egypt to make the X. But this solar eclipse, the one that's happening the year prior, is going to be going over the United States and Russia. Okay. So it's not an annular one. It's another total solar eclipse that will be seen over Russia and the United States. And there was another thing that I found really fascinating, because all of these eclipses are either happening during the fall, like right around or right before the fall feast. And then also right around like springtime, like right close, like right before Passover, right around Passover, right around the beginning of the year. So it's either or. Either it's like in the fall, either in the fall time or either in the springtime. And I noticed that the ones that happen in around the fall time are usually going from like like a northwest to southeast direction. And then the ones that happen in the spring are going to be going up like from the southwest to the northeast direction. So I just thought that was interesting. Those were just some of the patterns that I noticed with these two different sets of eclipses, that both of them are tied to Egypt, either Little Egypt in the United States or actual Egypt over in Africa, like right at the Red Sea, like it's right over it, like the very bottom tip of Egypt, right at where it meets the Red Sea is where this one is going to meet, when those two eclipses are going to meet. And like I said, someone said that the one over the United States with the Ring of Fire one included, in that it makes the sign of the Aleph, and the one that's going to be going over Egypt in Africa makes the sign of Tav. And so I know that some people were saying that resembled or remind them of the term or the phrase Alpha and Omega, because Aleph is the beginning of the alphabet and Tav is the end of the alphabet. But like I said, those of you who know more about the Hebrew alphabet, you can chime in and provide some insight into that if you know anything concerning that. But that's going to be it. I apologize if things were jumbled or, ran together, but it's about 2 a.m. and I really wanted to get this out. It was really heavy on my spirit. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I didn't get to bed until, 6 o'clock just researching this stuff. And I was like, well, I need to get it done today. So I wanted to make sure I got it done before I went to bed. And I'm probably going to try to see if I can make a second video just discussing some other things that I noticed, or if I find out anything else. But that's going to be it for this video. You guys can let me know what you think. And like I said, I'm not saying anything is going to happen on any of these days, but you can see that there's a pattern that's happening, that's taking place. We may not know what exactly is going to happen, but we know that things are gearing up for something to happen. Okay, so all right, you guys, that's going to be it. You guys have a great day. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.